Maybe you should pull the fucking trigger.
Pull the trigger. Ain't nobody gonna do for you.
Hey, what's up guys, TeamDemise Andy here, and just before we start this video, I want to throw out the spoiler alert. In most of these videos, I try to keep them spoiler free as much as possible, but I'm only human. I end up ranting and raving on about character picks, so just keep in mind major and minor spoilers are to come. Alright, so my number 20 pick is going to be a little bit odd. I don't think a lot of people are going to remember or know him, but it is Enel. Now, Enel is one of those characters that are kind of like really overlooked, and if I didn't like the Sky P arc so much, I don't think I'd like him as much. He's kind of a generic character, a generic personality and stuff, but overall I think it's really cool. Alright, so coming in at number 19 is another odd choice, but like the Sky P arc, I really like the Archipelago series, which is probably the best series in my opinion so far, and Cammy was one of those lovable characters that just, you don't want to forget. I'm not sure if she's going to be coming back anytime soon, but as far as I've seen, she hasn't really made any huge splashes, but she's really cool, and I think it's great, and you know, like I said, this is a personal list. If you don't agree, let me know in the comments. Alright, so moving right along, at number 18, I have another weird character, but he might be on some other people's top 20, and that's Bon Clay. Now, Bon Clay is one of those characters that are, holy shit, he's out there. But it's that being out there so much that really makes me like this character a lot. I mean, he's really cool, funny, and, I mean, he can fight, too. Alright, okay, so in number 17, we are finally getting to one of the Straw Hats crew, and that being Usopp. Now, Usopp is a character that I loved mostly for his, I don't know how to explain it, not his development, but how they stuck with his, like, him being a little liar, you know, all that stuff, to where his, like, Nami's treasure hunting and stuff, you kind of see slowly fade out. I mean, she still does it, it's hard to explain. He sticks with his character passion, and he stays true to it. I'm sorry if that was long-winded, but I don't know exactly how to explain it. Hopefully you all understand. Alright, so coming on number 16, we have Luffy's, not really his mentor, but his guidance. And that's red-haired Shanks. Now, Shanks didn't earn this spot when he got his right arm taken off to save Luffy. He earned this spot when he got beer and disrespected thrown on him. You know, all this stuff happened, and he just laughed it off because he knows that there's a greater meaning to just war and everything. But he really earned this spot, like, to a T, when he literally, like, he stopped the war by himself. He just walked in, and he was like, we're done here. Alright? And that's just awesome to me. Not only does it show he's a great character, it shows everything that I love about characters in anime. Number 15, like Shanks, is another badass who has earned his right on this list, and that's Mihawk. Now, Mihawk is a character that I really started liking when he beat the shit out of Zoro, and then told him to, like, you know, come back and train. Or go train and then come back and fight him. And that's just what Zoro did. He trained and then still couldn't beat Mihawk. And when they got scattered, he trained with Mihawk, and I think that's awesome. With number 14, we go back to the whole weirdness part of the list, because I doubt this character is remembered or even on other people's list, and that's Pell. Now, Pell is a character that I just liked. I loved his design, I loved his drive, and plus I really loved the Alabasta arc in general. I mean, it's overall, he's a good pick, he's a good character. Number 13 is definitely on other people's list, but he's so low on my list because I haven't got to see him in action yet. Well, a lot of action. That's Doflamingo. This character looks great, acts great, and I think he's going to be a huge part of the series later on. I just haven't got to see too much of him, except for a little bit in the war he fought, but that's about it. And that just showed how big of a dick he was. Number 12 heads right back into the Alabasta arc, and it's another weird one. I think you all won't mind, though, because that's Vivi. This is a character that I hope comes back. I loved her character, I loved her outlook, and I really think that, like, her whole thing, she could have been a huge part of the Pirates if she had something to work with. Number 11 is a character we have seen since the very first episode. A snot-nosed little brat at the time, though, Kobe has worked his way into not only this list, but my heart. I want to see what happens with Kobe. I think he could have his own personal story by himself, just what he's came through, but something just wants me to hope that he turns into a pirate and joins the Straw Hat someday, because it would be great. We're halfway through the list, and coming in at number 10 is a character that I hated in the very beginning when he was introduced, but that's Blackbeard. Now, Blackbeard really wouldn't have even been on this list if I wouldn't have had him kill Whitebeard. Whitebeard had already been through hell, but he literally put the dagger in the coffin with Whitebeard, and he's just going to be great. I think he's going to have a huge part in the next arc, and it's going to be lit as fuck. Alright, so we're finally heading back to the Straw Hats with my 9th pick. Now, this one's going to be an obvious one. It's Sanji. Not only do I love everything about Sanji's character, he's a cook. He's most of the time you don't think of a cook being the badass. Well, Sanji is one of the badass of the Straw Hats crew, and I like him so much more than Usopp, as you can see by the placement. But he's just an overall great character, and a lot of people I would think would have him on their list. Even if it's not a top 20, it'd be in their top 10. Okay, so number 8 is by far my favorite Marine I have seen up to this point, with that being Smoker. Now, Smoker's character has a story going on, and it's great. I love his Devil Fruit, I love his character design, I love his character look. I love the story around him trying to catch Luffy. I think it's great, and if they play it out right, it could end perfectly. Number 7, I can promise you, is not a joke. Though most people will probably think it's Buggy. Him being Shank's natural enemy and all this stuff against Luffy, I love his character. He's comedy relief. He's great. They tried to make him big in the beginning, but it failed completely. I love his Devil Fruit. I love his character personality. Don't really like his look so much, but it works out all for the best. My next one for number 6 is a character I've only seen bits and pieces of, but I think is going to be awesome. That being Jewelry Bonnie. Now, this character is one of those characters that I haven't seen a lot of, but I love the whole shit between her and Zoro. I think that's going to be great. Her trying to save Zoro from the Celestial Dragons and him just not giving a fuck was the funniest thing I think I've ever seen, and it was great. I loved it. Speaking of Zoro, coming in at number 5, we have another Straw Hat pick, and if you haven't guessed it already, it's Roronoa Zoro. Now, Zoro is a character I have loved since the very beginning when he is introduced. I don't know why, but I really like swords people. His demeanor is like what really makes me like him. He's like the cool, calm, collected one who's also stupid at times. I love the whole directions lost thing, and overall, he's just 10 out of 10, they couldn't have made Zoro's character better. I hope he stays strong going forward, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. Alright, so remember the spoilers thing? Yeah, that's what number 4 is going to jump into really hard. It's Ace. If you haven't already seen it, Ace dies. It's the saddest thing this anime has brought to us so far. They built it up so strong for Luffy to save him, but it pulled out the emotion strings when Luffy just was too late. If you haven't seen it, I suggest getting to it as fast as you can. I mean, it's overall the best thing I think I've ever seen in an anime death. Alright, switching the pace up a little bit, number 3 is way more upbeat. Now, Scratchman Apu is a character that I doubt anyone has on their list. I haven't seen anything big from him, but the most watched scene I have seen so far is his song to Kizaru. I've watched it at least, 30 times. It is the funniest thing I've ever seen. I laughed so hard the first time. His character is probably going to be all that. I mean, it's not going to get anything else, but I refuse to let this horse die until I see it die myself. Number 2 is a character that was literally just introduced in the war segment that we've seen with Ace, and that's Marco. Now, Marco is one of those characters I absolutely adore. I love his Devil Fruit so much. It's great. I love his character design. I love how devoted he is to Whitebeard, and it's overall awesome. I hope to see him create his own branch of pirates now that the Whitebeards are unfortunately done. Alright, so before we get to number 1, let's run through some honorable mentions really quickly, just to get them out of the way. Alright, so getting back on track, we have my number 1 overall pick, which should not surprise anyone at all. That's Sniper King. Sniper King is the best, awesomest character. No, I'm just kidding, obviously. It's Trafalgar Law. Law is a character that I love, I adore, I want to see so much more of him. Every time I see him, it's great. His Devil Fruit is obviously the shit, and his character design is my favorite of all of the One Piece characters ever. It's great, and I want to see more of them. So that's been my list, guys. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.